I come from a family of debaters, not like hardcore debaters who like actually go to competitions and that kind of thing, just people who like to have controversial conversations and debate with each other. We like to argue with each other in a healthy family way. And because of that, I guess that's also why I've been on the track that I have been in my life where I do debates, I do, political stuff, that kind of stuff, or I've had interest in those things at least, rather than really outright doing them. But that's not the point. The point is that through all of that, I've learned so much the value of having a dual mindset, not being stuck to one idea and making sure that you have an open mind. I've learned the value of when you're in an argument with somebody or when you are discussing something with somebody, or even if you're not discussing something with someone, just throughout your entire life, never be so strong towards one side of something. You should always be willing to change your mind, no matter how serious the issue is or no matter how minuscule the issue is. Whether it's deciding ketchup or barbecue sauce, or whether it's deciding left wing or right wing politics, never be so strict to one side. You should always be willing to change your mind. And I was thinking about this topic a little bit and how I have really tried to, throughout my life, practice adaptability and that dual mindset. And I thought to myself, why though? Why is it so important to always be willing to change your mind? And what does being willing to change your mind really even look like? So then, of course, naturally, I was like, well, sounds like another podcast episode. So here we are. So, welcome back to the Notes and Quotes podcast, everybody. If this is your first time, once again, as I say in all the episodes, I am so incredibly happy to have you here and welcome to the community. We are just a community of people, 20 somethings usually, talking about issues that are important to our generation and issues that are I'm hoping, to help you feel connected, seen, and most importantly, informed as well. So, today we're talking about the importance of being willing to change your mind. This is a little unorthodox and a bit messy of me, but here's the quote of the day, which I'm inserting in the middle of the episode as a separate recording I did because I totally forgot to say what the quote of the day was. Anyway, quote of the day. Here's a quote of the day from Bernard Shaw. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Now, the thing about being willing to change your mind is that there's a lot of natural backlash. Like when you think about when we're kids and we want something, like let's say we want to go get ice cream. We want to go get ice cream. We're not changing our mind. Our parents say no. No, we've had enough ice cream for the day, or today's not an ice cream day, or you're going to have dinner later. No, we know what we want. We want ice cream. So we're going to throw a hissy fit. We're going to argue. We're going to talk back. We might even throw a tantrum because it's what we want. And we're determined with that. And a lot of people naturally don't really get rid of that determined, defiant mindset. Like, yeah, it lessens. You're not going to throw a tantrum every time something doesn't go your way, but you still hold on to that. I know what I want and I'm going to stick to what I want mentality. And although that's a good thing, it's good to be sure of what you want and not let people walk all over you. It can also lead to a lot of conflict in your life, obviously. But what people don't understand, I think, is that it also leads to you rejecting your own personal growth. Because what I've learned throughout primarily debates with my family, but also just throughout life, being adaptable in your mindset makes you prime for a position to always be growing and always be learning. I mean, we learn that in school. We're always learning new things in school and you grow naturally. But that growth doesn't stop and it's not just siphoned off to only in education or formal education, rather. You're being educated throughout your entire life and you have to be open to that, right? They always say you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped because they have to be open to that help. It's the same thing in general life. You need to be open to learning and growing and being adaptable in your thinking. So if somebody says to you, and let's think of a non-serious topic, oh, I think that cats are better than dogs. And you as a dog lover are like, no, Are you crazy? Dogs are way better than cats. They're way more friendly, they're easier to train, they're good with families and kids and stuff. Like dogs are so much better. More people have dogs than cats. And you start getting on a tangent, and you get really defiant. Now, it's fine that you think that dogs are better than cats. Great. But the issue arises when you are not even slightly open to hearing, why are cats better than dogs? So, what I do when I'm met with, or at least I try to practice this, sometimes I don't always live up to it, I will admit, but what I try to do is if I am met with a counter idea, an idea that's counter to mine or my point of view, what I'll do is I will ask them, okay, but why? Why do you think cats are better than dogs? Oh, well, cats are a lot more relaxed than dogs. They're lower maintenance, like this and that. They make their case, they make their argument. And it doesn't mean that I have to immediately agree with what they think, but there is a possibility with me doing that instead of just bracing them with defiance and all of my arguments. I might just be enlightened to something. It opens me up to changing my mind. I want you to try and change my mind. I'm always curious for people to tell me that actually I disagree. Oh, that's great. I'm so excited when people tell me that they disagree with me because I'm like, okay, tell me why. So maybe I can learn something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me. And there's a lot of times where people are not able to change my mind. Sometimes I don't change my mind on really important topics, like, for example, LGBTQ rights or climate change and saying, it's a hoax or something. There's no way you can change my mind and tell me that climate change is a hoax and that it's not, an incredibly distressing issue that we have to face. There's some things that you probably won't change my mind on, but I'm always willing for people to try because maybe I'll learn something. And even if I don't learn something to change my mind, I learn about what is hindering the other side from believing what I believe. And it's not that I'm trying to indoctrinate people into my own beliefs, but I'm always willing to be able to learn and have that ability to grow from other perspectives in your life. That's the beauty of conversations with other people. That's the beauty of us connecting with other people, that we're able to learn and grow from them. And when I was thinking about this topic, I was looking up reasons. Okay, why should we be always trying to change our minds? Because, of course, when I'm thinking about these topics, I have all of the thoughts in my head, but sometimes you can't really put your thoughts to words, you know what I mean? So sometimes I use the internet for help. And then I found this thing where it just encapsulates it perfectly. I can't cite it. I'm so sorry, but just know it's not my words. It says new information, technologies, and societal shifts constantly reshape the world. What made sense a year ago may no longer be relevant today. Stay curious and open. Oh, wait, sorry. Staying curious and open allows you to adapt to these changes rather than being left behind. I mean, come on. That's not the quote for today. As you know, we said the quote for today back in the, earlier in the episode. But it perfectly encapsulates an incredibly important point. The thoughts we had back in the day were a product of the time. We were always a product of our time. So that's why our parents' opinions are never really perfectly aligned with our opinions. We are all a product of our time, which is also why families get in conflict so often, why parents and kids start to argue with each other all the time, because our ideas tend to conflict a lot. It all depends on what was happening in the politics at the time, what was happening in technology, what was happening in our education systems, what kind of friends were we around, were there wars going on, where were we living, the locations matter as well. You know, all of these things make up and shape our opinions and our thoughts, which is also what creates this brilliant amount of diversity that we have in the world. So you should always be trying, once again, to learn from the older generations. A lot of times, learning from older generations doesn't only mean learning what to do. And this is not just for older generations, this is in life in general, for anyone that you talk to. Whenever you're talking or interacting with somebody or watching somebody else, don't always look for things that you want to take from that person. Also look and see what not to do. Because sometimes I interact with absolutely horrendous, terrible people, and I'm still grateful for it. Why? Because I learn what not to do from those people. I learn who I don't want to be and the traits that I don't want to adopt. And that can be something that can change your mind as well. Maybe you thought, oh, I actually want to, I don't know, be a millionaire. And then you start watching millionaires and you're like, maybe I don't actually want that life. And obviously, it's different for everybody. But, and one, looking at one person doesn't mean that this is how everybody else in that category is going to be like, but you're able to learn things from everybody that you are around. And one of my number one pet peeves in life is arrogant people. I hate arrogant people. I always tell people whenever I'm talking to them about guys I might be attracted to or something, I can say you could be the most attractive person on the planet. Like you could have everything right about you. You could be physically gorgeous. But as soon as I see a hint of arrogance, oh my gosh, you've gone from a 10 to a negative 10. Arrogance is awful. And the number one thing that I think makes people arrogant is thinking that you know everything. Thinking that you know everything and you have all the answers to everything and there's no reason to change your mind and you are right all the time, or you are right on this one topic completely and there's no way to change your mind is a very arrogant mindset. And just completely closing yourself off to the possibility of changing your mind is very, very arrogant. And I think it's a major deficit. Because the fact of the matter is, nobody in this entire universe knows everything. Not the prime minister, not the president, not the pope, not, I don't know, Greta Thunberg, not anybody. Literally anybody. Nobody knows everything. And for you to go through life thinking that you are totally right and there's no reason to change your mind is foolish, to say the least. This is why I heavily encourage people to practice what I call the dual mindset. So the dual mindset is something that I try to practice quite a lot. I will have my own points of view in life, you know. I might think that, I don't know, I'm so bad at coming up with examples for things. I'm just terrible at it. I might think that The Office is the best show in the entire world, which I do objectively think that The Office is the best show in the entire world. But I might have that point of view. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I want to do a different scenario. Sorry, a bit all over the place today. But I might have just had an argument with a family member, a boyfriend, whatever. And I am so sure, so incredibly sure that I was right in my opinions and what I did. And I don't think that I did anything wrong. Like, I think objectively, I didn't do anything wrong. And what I do with the dual mindset is I acknowledge my own points of view. I validate my own points of view if I really think that I'm right. And I'm like, okay, this is why I think this. But no matter how prideful I am, no matter how much pride I have, I always put myself in the other person's shoes. And I know that's a very cliche statement, but I really do try to put myself honestly in the other person's shoes and think about it from their point of view, with their perspectives, with their background, with their knowledge, with their emotions and opinions and that kind of thing. And I look at myself as best I can from an external point of view. And I think, how are they seeing this? Why would they disagree with me? Why would they think that I'm wrong? And I try my best, obviously not perfect, but I try my best to do it in the most unbiased way possible. So I'm not going to be saying, oh, because they only think I'm wrong because, they're not as smart as me, or they only think I'm wrong because, they're speaking with all their emotions and I'm speaking logically. No, that's not honestly putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Honestly, putting yourself in the other person's shoes is, oh, they might be thinking that because maybe I'm not being as sensitive to their concerns as I should be. Or maybe they think I'm wrong because I'm overlooking something that they have spotted that maybe I should be more aware of. And sometimes I realize things about myself. Actually, most of the time, I realize things about myself. And I'm like, oh, maybe they do have some points. I'm not, sometimes I'm not always 100% right. Actually, lots of the time, I'm not 100% right. And sometimes I realize, I still think I'm correct though. Like, I still think that I'm in the right here, but I do understand your point of view. Like, I do understand why you would be thinking in the way that you are thinking. I recently had a conflict with somebody that was, very near and dear to me. And I, it was a really complex situation. And I thought to myself after this conflict, I literally have not done anything wrong in this situation. I have just done, in my opinion, all the right things. And so I didn't see any reason for any remorse. And I was trying to practice the dual mindset. And I was thinking to myself, oh, they're just immature and they're just looking for a reason to not like me. And they're just speaking with their emotions and all this stuff. And for months, I thought that. And then when I finally let go of all the emotion, all the anger, all the pain and hurt from being in conflict with this person, I realized I practiced a dual mindset again. I put myself in their shoes and I tried to see the situation from their point of view and take what they were saying to me like I was saying it to myself. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. No, I do understand why they would think the way that they're thinking now. I didn't think that they were 100% right. I still thought that I had done a lot of things right. I was not 100% right. I knew that. Now, looking back, I was not 100% right. And I realized, you know what? I do have things to apologize for. And because of the nature of the conflict, they hadn't apologized to me either. I hadn't apologized to them. But I said, you know what? Let me set my pride aside. I am going to go talk to them. And this is months later of us not speaking at all. So I go and I message them and I'm like, hey, now I'm not looking to rehash anything. I'm not even looking to reconnect. I'm not looking to get an apology out of you. I just feel like you deserve this. And I now understand after looking back at this situation and setting my pride aside why my actions would have hurt you and what I have done wrong in this. And I want to apologize for that. And you know what happened? And this was not the goal at all. But they were like, you know what? I really appreciate that. I'm happy that you see things from my point of view now. And looking back, I can see why you would have been upset as well. And I can see that I should have handled this situation better. And I'm not saying to go use this dual mindset to, get an apology out of your enemies and to try and like emotionally manipulate people. That's not it. It's just so you can be willing to change your mind and grow and learn and be able to be fundamentally at its core, it's about being more self aware. You realize things about yourself and you're able to humble yourself. And that's such a valuable practice because being adaptable is one of the most important things in our lives. It's so important and crucial for us to be adaptable in life. Charles Darwin said that intelligence is not measured by education or your background or your achievements or whatever. Intelligence is measured by your ability, the human's ability to be adaptable. How adaptable can you be in your mindset with whatever situation you're faced with? And the thing about it is when you're adaptable and when you're willing to change your mind, you make better decisions in life. You're better at handling when you're wrong, and you overall end up building emotional strength. You become stronger from your adaptability. Because if you're willing to look back at yourself and say to yourself, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Or maybe I should think this way instead. Maybe I was not as right as I thought I was. Maybe I am doing the incorrect things. You're able to self regulate, to self correct, to be self aware, to humble yourself, and to be just overall a better human for everyone. Because nobody likes an arrogant person who's yelling at everyone and being like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. That is never productive for anything. You should always be willing to be adaptable and willing to change your mind. And once again, it doesn't mean giving in to other people's opinions all the time. It means being willing to learn and grow. And honestly, it shows intellectual maturity when you're able to do that. And one of the things that I love the most about being willing to change your mind is that it's contagious. It's so contagious. And I didn't even realize this until, practicing it now throughout my life, that it makes people let me explain. When you are able to set your pride aside and be willing to have a different point of view than your original, people notice that. People are watching other people all the time. People are picking up things from other people all the time. Like I said, we're a product of our environment. We learn from others around us, right? So people are always watching other people's practices and mimicking. So when people see you putting your pride aside and being willing to be adaptable, they want to do that too. People become more willing to be flexible and open-minded. And when you have open-minded people and flexible people, that just leads to a more welcoming and more adaptable society, which of course is so necessary in this time of life. It's been necessary throughout our entire lives, but I think it's even more necessary now, especially with the level of conflict that we are facing in the world right now. It is New Year's Eve. We're going into a new year. We're going into 2025. What I really want to see is more open-minded human beings. People who are more flexible and more open to thinking of other perspectives. Because if we're a product of our own environment and we all live in very different environments in the world, of course we're going to come into conflict. Of course we're going to have different points of view. And the only way that we can have peace and cooperation and collaborate with each other is if we're open-minded and adaptable and willing to change our minds and willing to hear other people out. And I think it's one of the things that is so crucial to learn when you are a young adult. I think even younger than that, to be honest. I think from as young as possible. But as young adults, I think it's something that we should be practicing a lot more since we have a lot more autonomy with our minds and with ourselves and with our choices at this time in life. You have the choice of whether to be adaptable or defiant and arrogant. You have the choice of whether you want to grow in your mindset or stay the same. And for me, I think one of the meanings of life, what the meaning of life is, I'm going to use it, I don't care. One of the meanings of life is being willing to learn and learn and learn again. You should always be learning. You should always be growing. You should always be adapting because that's how you make a fulfilling life. And that's how you connect to other people when you're able to learn from them. So that is my words of wisdom for you guys today. I really hope it helped. I really hope you learned something. I really hope you are going to go out into your life and practice the dual mindset and practice being willing to learn and adapt from other people. And of course, I wish you a really big happy new year, guys. 2024 is over. 2025 is here. I wish happiness and fulfillment and growth for all of you and for myself as well. Love you all. That's all. Thank you for listening to the Notes and Quotes podcast. If you want to learn more, please go check out our socials. We are on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. My favorite is the Instagram because I'm always on there. So it's usually where I'm engaging the most. Notes and Quotes Pod for the Instagram and the TikTok, Notes and Quotes Podcast for the YouTube and the LinkedIn. I would love to chat with you, hear from you, whatever. You can talk to me at any time. Love you guys so much. And I'll see you again next Tuesday in the new year. Okay, that's all. See you later. Bye, guys. Love ya.